So we've got reports of Skinny Luka, something we tend to see each summer when Luka gets away from all the processed American food. And what do you think? Here's what he looked like the last time we saw him in a game on American soil, as the Lakers were getting eliminated in 5 games by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I gotta say, it does look like Luka is moving a lot better in these warm-up games from EuroBasket. So let's look at the Latvia game as he just detonated in the first half. We open up with a nice little set, a pair of get actions in a row, back to Luka out top before then going to Spain pick and roll as he gets the high ball screen, and a guard slides underneath to back screen the ball screener's man. This sucks Davis Bertans deep into the lane to help, and check the gorgeous hook pass right on the money to create an open corner 3. Luka has a 2-motion shot, which we'll get into in a minute, but the issue is that it leads to wildly inconsistent results. On the handoff, Luka's man is trapped behind him, and the effort he expends to get back in front just allows Luka to step back for a clean look, which he cold swishes. And when he's feeling it, he can hit pretty much any shot he wants from anywhere on the floor. I don't blame his defender for going underneath the ball screen set 45 feet away from the hoop, but he quick gathers with his left foot on the floor, then takes his legal 2 steps as a right-left into the jump, and just buries the deep ball. He was also up to his old self as a passer. Check how he's calling out the sideline out of bounds play, and I swear he glances at his teammate right here to let him know he'll be open. It gets better for them as Porzingis is turned away from the ball and won't know what's going on, and Bertans has a reputation as a poor defender that they want to pick on. Luka is trying not to let on as he quickly glances at Hrovat and then looks down at the ball before casually tossing it towards the hoop for another beautiful dime before the defense knew what hit him. Now let's talk about Luka's 2 motion, since it's easier to see on a catch and shoot shot. The first way to tell is to check when the ball is swinging upwards. It's at the same time his knees are bending and his body sinks down. The next key is, what is the ball height the instant he straightened the knees into the jump? We can see it's already at his set point, causing the ball to pause while he waits for his body to catch up into the jump. The last thing that defines a 2-motion shot is when the set point is above the head like it is here for Luka. When he's wide open, it's something he can hit at a good rate, since it's when defenders provide even slight pressure that a 2-motion shot can get thrown out of whack, usually short. Where we're really going to see an effect from a slimmer Luka is on defense. Is he moving better than he had been with the Lakers? For the most part, he guarded players who tended to just hang out in that left corner and not have to move too much, and Latvia didn't seem interested in making him work on this end. But this is a good read where he bumps down to the roll man, bounces on his toes waiting to see where the pass goes, then snares it out of the air for a steal. This led to a fast break where he makes a mistake. He'd have been better off dumping a pass off here to a teammate. Instead, he tries to do an extended last step over Porzingis. He's scoring this on anyone else in this tournament, but KP proves just enough of a deterrent with his incredible length. Luka was definitely in mid-season form complaining to the refs, but I can assure you there is no foul to be called here. But he doesn't just start walking back. Check the acceleration in the backcourt, and it puts him directly in the spot he needed to be in to box out and help get the ball back for Slovenia. Latvia wanted to try and deny Luka the ball if he started the possession without it. So Slovenia runs a triangle offense concept called blind pig. They flash their center underneath Luka and hit him with the pass. This allows Luka to cut in behind the defense for the handoff, and Luka's trickiness does the rest with the gorgeous step through off 2 feet to get open from 13 feet and knock down the little floater. Okay, let's look at this again a little more carefully. In real time, refs will consider his left foot the pivot as he gathers with both feet in the air, and the left foot is the first one to touch the floor, which means he can totally move the right foot like he does here, but it also means he cannot lift the left foot off the floor and then put it back down again before shooting or passing the ball. Since this is an exhibition game, the refs let this one slide. More energetic defense on this possession as he digs down in the post and closes out fast to prevent a quick shot. Now, he's cutting off the penetration, and it might look like he's going to get beat on this tween dribble, but Luka opens up just enough to let him slide laterally and then casually blocks this mid-range attempt at the shot clock buzzer. And he completes this great play with a perfect lead pass to a teammate for an easy layup. Latvia tried to double Luka out of the pick and roll to get it out of his hands. But watch how prepared Slovenia was for this. They sprint the shooter up as a second ball screener. His man starts to get into position to guard Luka, but they ghost this with a sprint to the weak side wing while having the original ball screener turn and flare screen for him. If that wasn't genius enough, Luka can then leave his feet, hover, and then throw a 50-foot overhead strike right to the shooter's pocket for a wide-open corner three. Luka falls asleep on a great shooter, but we can see some speed in his recovery to close out and contest, but this will come back to bite him later. Like I mentioned before, two-motion shooters are more prone to get hot when everything is flowing and calibrating right. And on this shot, the rhythm is slightly better as his knees are starting to straighten just as the ball is getting to the set point, so it pauses only slightly before going up and in the basket for another triple. Luka takes a page out of the SGA playbook, trying a quick pull when his defender puts his hands on Luka's waist. We can't see if there's any contact by the defender's right arm, but Luka double pumps this ridiculousness in the basket anyway. Let's check the replay. Yep, blatant contact on his shooting arm by the defender, and you cannot tell me this is not a legitimate shot. Luka made it, for heaven's sakes. There's a distinct lack of celebration and more complaining to the refs, rightly so. So this time, Luka made sure he got his left shoulder into the body of the defender for more contact, earning him a trip to the free throw line. It wasn't a perfect night for Luka, and while he does get away with the blatant travel upon receiving this pass, the basketball gods punish the team by having Slovenia eventually lose the ball. But in a wild sequence, they stay with it and are rewarded with getting the ball right back, which leads to this nifty underhand save that gets them an uncontested dunk. Luka tries another SGA quick pull, lots of contact, but the refs aren't going to give it to him, and I imagine people here would love to see NBA refs treat this move the same way. One thing Latvia didn't do enough, and opposing NBA teams should be taking notes, is to go at Luka on defense. He'll shy away from major contact and try reaching in to steal the ball a lot, and good post players could abuse him down there. When Luka decides to take over a game, you'll see him handle the ball almost exclusively for his team, and here's another example of him moving well with some explosion on the fake spin, but he's always under control at about 70% of max speed, and this extra dribble here allows him to step around the help defender and force him to foul him. Lots of players would probably end the dribble earlier and try to extend their last step to get closer, kind of like what Luka did against KP earlier, but Luka is skilled enough to see solutions that others can't. Latvia went zone against him, and I gotta tell you, this is exactly the chase defense that I devised, where you play behind the ball and lure them into the dreaded mid-range. Notice how Bertans gets behind Luka to suck him into the help, and then they can recover to shooters to get the miss. In transition, they try to get a little handsy with Luka. Not a lot going on, but you can see his disgust for the ref for not calling anything. So he's going to make them pay on the other end by patiently bringing the ball up, looking for an opportunity to create more contact and force the refs to call a foul. The problem is, on this step back, he establishes his left foot as a pivot on the shot fake, then swivels both feet for an obvious travel while trying to jump into the defender. The refs miss the travel, Luka can't create any contact, but instead of an awful shot that slams off the backboard because he's drifting and hanging on the release, oh, it goes in perfectly, of course. Luka is so good on offense that if he just gives you 2 or 3 good defensive plays, it's an MVP level impact on the game. This is a glimpse, but he's active and shows good lateral quickness to step in and steal the pass. And with the clock winding down in the first half, he's going to be the focal point of the offense, wanting to initiate with about 8 seconds left. Great organic action to backscreen the wing player, clearing the basket area for a potential Luka drive, but check the incredible high-lie bounce pass right on the money for the wide-open layup. Let's just watch this beauty again. In the second half, we get a pull-up over Porzingis on the switch pick-and-roll coverage, but notice how the ball in a two-motion shot will actually go backwards before going up and out. This saps energy transfer and will lead to a lot of short misses. Luka gets tricky with his footwork on KP here, establishing his right foot as the pivot on the shot fake, but can't take advantage. So he uses another spin shot fake, which really gets Porzingis to bite, but he should have taken the step through with the left foot to allow him to drift closer to the basket for a shorter shot. Instead, he goes off the right foot only in place and almost hits the bank shot anyway. Here's where defending Bertans came back to bite Slovenia, as Luka isn't nearly close enough to him on the catch. If he's got a clear view at this point, it's an open shot, and it gave Slovenia an insurmountable lead, especially when Luka appeared to get injured by a potentially serious knee injury when his teammate falls into him at a high rate of speed. It was almost a blessing that his man started shoving him in the lane so that Luka was already moving away from the impact when it occurs. Thankfully, he was able to walk it off, and we know the knee is okay since he was up and yelling at the refs at the end of the game. And in the next game against Great Britain, he played fine, with a number of nice moves jumping off that left leg without indicating any excessive pain or instability, so he should be fine and ready to go for the games that actually count. But it also means that he'll be in great shape heading into the NBA season, something he isn't usually in when NBA training camps roll around. And that should be a major concern for the rest of the league, because if Skinny Luka means more energy and explosiveness on both ends, the Lakers are going to be hard to stop.